and corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening. 3, 2, 1. Now live from the Devil Radio Studios in Madison, Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning. Welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Here is your host, Mike Crute.
Welcome to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. It's a Thursday, Dom. That makes it Friday Eve up in here.
Happy Friday Eve to you, Crudy, Evan, on the board, our fair audience. Happy days to us all. Great to be with you.
Dominic, we're going to have a fine guest in the 5 o'clock Happier Happy Hour, former Republican congressman and my former Fox News co-panelist, Joe Walsh.
He's coming back, Crudy.
I
thought you scared him off on Fox News, man.
He was a syndicated talk show host, had like 250 stations, and then he turned never Trumper, Dom. How dare he? In fact, he ran against Donald Trump, if you'll recall, in the 2020 presidential. Now, I didn't make it all the way to the finish line, but...
You think, but he's making it to the Devil's Advocates, and that's so much more important.
Now, I did remind him when we spoke the other day, we had a nice catch-up. You know, he's a radio guy, so he likes to talk like yours truly. But I reminded Joe, when I met him, I did make him stutter. And the topic was Trump tax cuts.
Yeah.
And I said effectively on the Fox News panel, talk radio panel, me and Joe Walsh. And I said, these Trump tax cuts, these are for the rich. I said, there's going to be a little window dressing, a few modest shekels for us peasants. I said, but these are tax cuts for the rich. Joe's, they better not be, effectively, is what he said. And I reminded Joe, and he said, you're right. You were right. And I said, Joe, I never tire of being right.
Nor do you tire of hearing that.
You're absolutely correct. You're right, Dom.
Yeah, I love it. See, I love it.
So Joe Walsh joining us at 5:05. Hope you stick around for him. You know who's having a bad day, Dom?
Kevin McCarthy still having a rough one.
Is he 0-8 or 0-9?
He's 0-9, and they are currently right now holding the 10th ballot. Right now, we're on number 10,
the historic 10th. No speaker has failed to garner on 10 ballots in 164 years, Dom.
All right, we're getting more historic as time goes on.
If this was a youth soccer game, they would have mercy ruled his ass by now. There'd be a running clock, they'd basically flip over the goal and let the other team just kick it just until you score a goal. Well, just no scoring down here.
I'm not sure what the plan is, and perhaps we'll get into this. Obviously, we will get into this in more detail later, but I did want to see, and I ran down to the New York Times. They have a listing of all the ballots, all the votes. First round ballot, McCarthy got 203 votes. Jeffries, 212, other 19, present 0, right? So that's the very first one. And you look at the list, I got it here. Second round, 203 for McCarthy. Third round, down to 202. Fourth round, 201, all the way to the 8th. And the 9th round, the one we just had, 200. The longer he keeps going, the more behind he gets. You're not going to make that up on volume, man. I'm just saying, you gotta change the dynamic, dude.
So, do you think he'll ever be the speaker? Bill Press was on our show, and I think he was the first one. He's way out in front on this topic, but he cared. He cared enough to make a bold prediction. Kevin McCarthy would never be the speaker. And after his fine appearance, I've got Bill's cell phone. That's part of how we book him. And I sent him a little picture, like the robot thing, and I sent it to you as well.
Yeah.
And there were like pictures of like the old style speakers that you had in your dorm room in college. Your roommate come home at bar time, blow them out. Well, there's all these different speakers. And then there were interspersed with pictures of Kevin McCarthy. And it was like, prove you're not a robot. Click on all that are speaker.
Yeah, select the images, select speakers.
I found it quite
McCarthy, the only pictures of McCarthy are the ones that were not checked. And he is still not the speaker. And they're going for round number 10.
Well, Dominic, let's bring it home to our
congressional
contingent from the great state of Wisconsin. Why Mike Gallagher and his fellow Wisconsin Republicans are backing Kevin McCarthy for House Speaker. I don't know, because they're losers? Why would you get behind this loser? He's never going to be the speaker, boys. Here is what it says. Wisconsin Republicans remain united in supporting Kevin McCarthy to become the next Speaker of the House. Never going to get it, Thursday afternoon.
Never gonna get it.
I'm also thinking of like Scrub, like we don't want no Scrub. Thursday afternoon, despite the GOP leaders' failed attempts to gain the needed Republican support, and with some members emphasizing that the historic deadlock is impeding necessary congressional operations. Are they really that necessary? We have work to do, and we can't do right now, says U.S. Rep. Mike Gallagher Wednesday afternoon, noting he was supposed to be at a meeting with the General Mark Milley to discuss matters in the Indo-Pacific, but could not because he's not yet been sworn in and does not have the clearance or the gavel, right? Because he'd be a committee chair. That's what he's really bemoaning. It's up to this Congress to restore deterrence, to restore peace through strength. Deterrence, I guess that'd be deterrence. Look at me mispronouncing a word. How rare. Gallagher said of his foreign policy goals, but we can't, we aren't able to do that vital work until, like investigating Joe Biden's son.
Of course.
We aren't able to do that vital work until we actually get past the speaker vote, populate our committees, and start getting to work. Gallagher's concerns underscore the now 3-day debate. Is it 3 days and counting? It is. 0 for 10 now, right? Soon
0 for 9, working on 10.
Over the next speaker of
if I may, breaking news from the Chiron on MSNBC. McCarthy appears to lose 10th speakership vote.
Are they still on the B's? Are they still on the B's of the roll call and he's already lost again? He was dead on the B's, and they're going through the alphabet alphabetically. If you're only on the B's and the guy's already lost the speaker's race, it's really sad.
You have to go through. You see Santos missed his name getting called to give his vote. You know why? Because it's probably not his real name. It didn't recognize it.
Well, let's talk about the Wisconsin contingent for a moment longer.
Yes.
Gallagher's concerns underscore the now 3-day debate over the next Speaker of the House, an election that is effectively the first step in beginning a new Congress. A bold new Congress, Tom. Until a speaker is selected, members cannot be sworn in, and legislative business will remain at a standstill. It's like a strike, Tom. McCarthy, a California Republican, has failed to secure the necessary 218 votes. You don't say. Over the course of 9 roll call votes and counting, in 3 days to become Speaker of a group of about 20 conservative lawmakers and members of the far-right House Freedom Caucus continue to oppose McCarthy's leadership as of Thursday afternoon, with some arguing McCarthy would perpetuate the status quo and others seeking concessions. He's offered all the concessions, man. He offered to go run naked through the quad. The guy's offered to, I'll do whatever you want. Of course, they're not.
He's never going to get it. I'll jump in here. Curdy, the House adjourned on Wednesday, as we know. Jump down here. Wisconsin's GOP delegation, along with about 195 other Republicans, remain behind McCarthy. They've said the man who has served as GOP minority leader since 2019 is the best choice to lead the chamber. Republican Congressman-elect insurrectionist Derek Van Orden called McCarthy, quote, the only person that's going to make sure this party is unified. If you think about it, the reason I'm checking into work today under a Republican majority is because of Kevin McCarthy's work. He put in the work to flip the House, and that deserves merit, insurrectionist Van Orden said Tuesday of McCarthy, who campaigned for Van Orden in Wisconsin and whose PAC, the Congressional Leadership Fund, spent hundreds of thousands of dollars in support of Van Orden's campaign. Gallagher, in a speech on the floor nominating McCarthy for Speaker before the fourth failed roll call, urged his Republican colleagues to support the GOP leader. He told his colleagues that no one has done more to lay out a plan for how we restore the basic functioning of this institution than Kevin McCarthy. I mean, they're failing at the most basic functioning of the institution. Who's that, Gallagher? He goes on. You all had an opportunity to provide input into that plan. And the irony of this current moment and this debate we're having is that on the big stuff, we all agree. There are basic things we know we need to do. It's time to get to work. Wisconsin Republicans on Wednesday dismissed chatter that McCarthy would not be able to gain the support of the 20 GOP holdouts and brushed off suggestions McCarthy should withdraw from the race. U.S. Rep. Scott Fitzgerald told the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, I certainly haven't given up on the idea that Kevin McCarthy is going to be the next speaker. I'm not surprised by this because I was worried about it. I think a lot of members were worried about it for the last couple of months, Fitzgerald said. We could see that it was going to be an issue, but I think we'll get there. Fitzgerald thinks we'll get there. Republicans, Grothman, Tom Tiffany, Brian Stile also backed McCarthy. Grothman told the Journal-Sentinel he thinks McCarthy has to negotiate with the 20 Republican McCarthy defectors to gain their support. Some have made demands of the GOP leader, including to institute a rule that would allow a singular member, to bring a motion to replace the speaker in the future. They've stuck together through 6 votes, Grothman said. They'll stick together for the next 2 weeks, too.
Dominic, today, my congressman, Mark Pocan, likened that was yesterday, I guess, likened the then 6 failed roll call votes to the movie Groundhog Day, where Bill Murray's character repeatedly relives the same day. Pocan said he does not see a path forward for McCarthy, who vowed to stay in the race, and suggested the GOP conference should nominate another member like, Steve Scalise, according to Pocan and the reporting. I don't know what the end game is for them. At some point, I assume Kevin McCarthy has to withdraw his name, or they figure out a real plan B. This isn't plan B. This is just a repeat episode.
And he's not going to I don't think he'll get there, Curdy. I mean, if people like Matt Gaetz and several others are no matter what, it will never, ever, ever, ever happen.
Dominic, a little more from Gallagher. Sure, it looks messy, but democracy is messy. Democracy is messy by design, and that's a feature, not a bug of the system. We're the Devils. Never messy, always smooth.
People in your own party won't vote for you, that's a dead giveaway.
Play it again, son.
When people in your own party won't vote for you, that's a dead giveaway.
Play it again, son.
When people in your own party...
It's enough. Thank you.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. He sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself.
For many military veteran caregivers, their caregiving journey starts earlier in life and lasts longer. Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
The Devil's Advocates.
The conservative dating app, The Right Stuff, is failing 3 months after launch. In October, the app, The Right Stuff, had just 11,000 downloads.
The profile creation process also asks users to list their thoughts about the January 6th Capitol riots. 2 reviewers claimed that FBI and police officers visited their homes after filling out their profiles.
The political party that is the Devil's Advocates radio show, live weekdays from 4 to 6 p.m.
I grew up hearing that women are bad with money, but I pay bills and take care of my family, so I'm pretty good with money. And now I'm taking control of my financial future by saving for retirement. Jumpstart your retirement savings at WeSaySaveIt.org. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Weather brought to you by the Joint Chiropractic, making routine chiropractic care affordable and convenient. Start the new year right with a 10-month wellness plan and get 2 months free. Visit us at any of our 4 Madison area locations. No appointment needed, open evenings and weekends.
Here's your Devil Radio forecast. Chance for scattered snow showers tonight, otherwise overcast skies. Lows dip down to about 24. Northwest winds 8 to 15 miles an hour. Cloudy tomorrow, high of 29. Lows level off around 16 tomorrow night, partly cloudy. Temperatures a bit above average Saturday and Sunday with highs from the low 30s to the mid 30s. For Civic Media, I'm meteorologist Derek Height. Currently, it's 34 degrees.
Don't drive angry. Don't drive angry.
They say we're young and we don't know. We won't find out.
And we are back from the 420 break. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Feel like we've done this before. You can join us on the phones, 844-967-2789.
You're right, Tom. Each and every day, we top yesterday, and I don't know how we do it, man, but we make the greatest radio show ever each and every single day of our broadcast lives.
It is a glorious thing to behold, and we appreciate everyone sticking around and hanging out with us in our joy here. Matt Gaetz, Crudy, I don't know if you saw this today, voted twice for Donald J. Trump as Speaker of the House. That was his votes on the 7th and 8th ballot. His 9th ballot, he said, other.
Dominic, once or twice in the history of this fine program, and it's been an illustrious Hall of Fame sort of history that we've shared together here on the airwaves, Dom.
Yes, it has.
But every so often we decide the music should help cast the politics. And we'll do the soundtrack. Like once upon a time, we did the soundtrack of Scott Walker's failed presidential campaign. And eventually we did the soundtrack of Donald Trump's failed presidency. And today, Dom, I think we should cast a soundtrack upon Kevin McCarthy's futile efforts, his never going to get it efforts to become the Speaker of the House of Representatives. Or maybe, there's a song indicative of a compromise he might somehow make with the rambunctious right, if you will. But I'd like to play this little exercise with the audience. You can be a part. 844-967-2789. And if I'm not familiar with your name, if you've never called before, you're going to jump to the top of the list, like Bob from Chesterin. Bob, where's Chesterin at?
Hey, Bob.
Hey guys, it's Chesterton.
Well, where is it?
Between Michigan City and Hammond.
How you listening
Right
to us, Bob? Where'd you find us at?
I'm streaming you off of 1580.
Awesome, man. Welcome to the show. Did you have a musical request, perhaps to celebrate the great success that our buddy Kevin McCarthy's having as speaker wannabe?
I understand your impetus, but I'm still hung up. I want to come up with a musical piece for CJ. So
what song would you like for CJ? I mean, in that he was D-Bag of the Year last year.
I know. I nominated him. So I don't know. I have to think about this one carefully. I have a repertoire that goes back 60 years, so I'm sure I can dig something out.
Well, Bob, you can give like 5 seconds in YouTube, man. So what do you got for us?
Yeah, I don't know yet. But I do have a question.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I've been in politics since I was 21 years old. I've been campaigning. I work for the Democrats. I work as a social worker, all kinds of stuff like that. So I'm familiar with the Republican Party. What makes anyone think that Kevin McCarthy is going to keep his promises to them? I mean, this is like a guy who you give $100 to, and he starts promising everybody $1. But at 101, he runs out, Jack. So he's going to have to just look at somebody and go, hey, yeah, well, I know I promised you that $1, but you know what? I ain't got it, and you ain't getting it.
Bob, how many times do you think Kevin McCarthy would sell his soul for the speakership?
He doesn't have one. But I'm sure that he's made more promises than he can live up to.
Yeah.
And that's assuming he ever intended to live up to any of them.
Well, Bob, here's
why would a Republican trust a Republican?
Oh, why would any of us? Okay, Bob, I trust you to come up with one good song for your buddy CJ, 2022's D-Bag of the Year. You got one for us, Bob?
Not right off the top of my head.
All right, man. Bob, you can call us back tomorrow, man. We got the grievances tomorrow. Call us back tomorrow. Let us know what your song of the year for CJ will be. Thanks for the call, man. I think you have a good point. I think some of those, the hardcore, the insurrectionists that are against McCarthy, they don't trust him, and perhaps for good reason. But at the end of the day, who else is it going to be, right? That becomes the question. If it's not, is it Scalise? Is it going to be another couple of days and then Scalise comes in? But my understanding of the Matt Gaetz will never, ever, and I believe it, will never, ever, 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 ever vote for Kevin McCarthy. So take that one off the board. And there's only he's only got room for 4 or 5. It just, I don't know how you might be able to whittle, down to 10 by giving away things, but at some point, there's nothing left to give away. There's nothing left to bargain. You know what? There's only so many cards in the deck. And once you've given it all away, and whether or not you actually follow through with it, certainly, Bob, to your point, is a whole nother issue. And that could be why some of those insurrectionists are hesitant to take any deal or believe anything. And with all the moving parts, right? You promise this, that, and the other thing. I mean, how many times you got to go back and rehash the deal because there's another thing that would take away from somebody else? I mean, wow. Pelosi didn't have these problems. She had about the same margin, right? So when people like Congressman Gallagher from Wisconsin talk about, the basic functioning of government, and Republicans are sent to do that, well, you are failing on a monumental scale every minute of every day. And now, after 10 ballots, you still have not come to the conclusion of who your speaker is going to be. And you want us to trust you with other decision-making processes? Good luck. American people, we should have done a little bit more to make sure this didn't happen. So, we get the government to some degree that we deserve.
Dominic, you sold your soul for rock and roll.
You know it, baby.
Come back with us. We are the Devil's Advocates, the soundtrack of Kevin McCarthy's wannabe speakership. Your suggestions, your requests coming next. 844-967-2789.
I got you, babe. I got you, babe. I got you, babe.
Trust me. What, I thought we were on the trust tree in the nest, are we not?
Never trust a woman or a government.
You're listening to Devil Radio 92.7 and WTTN 1580 AM. And that's pretty cool.
ABC News, I'm Andy Field. On the House floor, a 9th vote now underway for House Speaker. Kevin McCarthy again coming up short on votes in the 8th round with 20 members of his own party voting against him. ABC's Jay O'Brien breaking down the group that's unified to oppose McCarthy's leadership.
There are the lawmakers who do want some kind of concessions from Kevin McCarthy, whether that's lowering the threshold to oust a sitting Speaker of the House, whether that's concessions on government spending, whether those are concessions on people sitting on the powerful Rules Committee of the House of Representatives, whether or not that's a number of different things. And then within them, there is the so-called Never McCarthy group, who say they will not vote for Kevin McCarthy under any circumstances.
Democrats again nominating leader Hakeem Jeffries. Doctors say Buffalo Bills safety Damar Hamlin has shown remarkable improvement, but he's still in critical condition. Hamlin went into cardiac arrest Monday after getting hit during a game against the Bengals. This is ABC News.
Taking on Radio Whitey Talk Radio on both sides of the dial, from Cross Plains to Cottage Grove. Devil Radio 92.7 FM and WTTN 1580 AM.
For Civic Media, I'm Jane Metner with your headlines. Wisconsin is one of 20 states that hasn't raised the minimum wage above the federal level of $7.25 an hour. 50 Senate Republicans and 7 Senate Democrats voted against hiking the wage to $15 in 2021. Wisconsin has some of the greatest racial wealth disparities in the country, where 14% of children live in poverty. Democratic State Senator Melissa Agard has proposed legislation to increase Wisconsin's minimum wage, saying that 1 in 3 Wisconsin workers would be helped by the increase. Use less salt on your driveway and sidewalks. Experts say waterways in Wisconsin are being contaminated with salt, and sodium levels are even rising in well water. Salt runoff from roads is leading to saltier water everywhere. Wisconsin's DNR says Lake Michigan has become 7.5 times saltier since the 1800s. You're listening to Devil Radio, 92.7 FM, WTTN, 1580 AM.
You wanted information as election results rolled in, and the Civic Media network of radio stations delivered it live.
I was so impressed with your coverage. And I listened to you guys, and I got all the coverage. It was amazing.
Civic Media, the only network with news reporters and show hosts stationed across Wisconsin, sharing political insight not found anywhere else. Elections or anytime, we are here for you, your local Civic Media radio stations, and streaming on the Civic Media app.
Hey, Dom, how many palindromes can you name in 30 seconds?
Race car, mom, dad, reefer, kayak, level. Did I say mom already?
You're forgetting one really important one.
Zero res.
Not only is it the coolest palindrome ever, it's also our favorite.
Right, I remember. Why is that again?
They advertise with us.
Zero res, my favorite palindrome.
And carpet cleaner. Get the best carpet cleaning ever. Schedule your carpet cleaning online at zeroresmedicine.com. Tell them the Devil's Advocate sent you. My fine guest, Maggie Dawn, attorney at law. I thought that the laws of the United States were supposed to evolve with societal norms. The vast majority of Americans, 70% approximately, believe that Roe v. Wade should be the law of the land. So that seems exactly contrary to the way the courts are supposed to evolve with our nation.
I'll just say this. The guy in Colorado can't be forced to make a gay wedding cake, but I can be forced to make a baby. I don't know about you, but that makes no damn sense to me.
Follow the Devil's Advocates on Facebook and Twitter.
Up North News Radio is Wisconsin's new choice for progressive talk about important state issues, from the team that brings you the news through social media, newsletters, and here on the radio. I'm Pat Kreitlow. Join me weekday mornings from 6 to 8 a.m.
The Devil's Advocates. Political commentary from the back of the class.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Bringing down the heartbreak on Kevin McCarthy.
Bringing down the heartbreak, baby. That's right. Kevin McCarthy, I nominated this song for his theme for his speakership efforts.
You know, Mark Pocan sort of suggested that Sonny and Cher, they of course played out in the Groundhog Day. And I know it's off topic, Tom, but over at the Journal Sentinel, J.J. Watt, Badger great, obviously announced his impending retirement from the NFL and got some fan mail this week. And in the box, he labeled it on Twitter. He said, "I've received a lot of wild fan mail over the years, but this package that just arrived today is certainly being added to that list." J.J. Watt opened up the box, and it was a stuffed badger, like a taxidermy badger.
Wow.
In a box they shipped to him. It reminded me of the groundhog on the steering wheel. Don't drive angry.
Don't drive angry.
Anyways, you can be a part of our frivolity. We don't do this often. If someone doesn't get us started, and Bob teased this song for CJ a couple times, all you had to do was pick a song. Pick a song. Have a little fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to apply, not just any song. I mean, there's a lot of heartbreak going on, heartache going on with Kevin McCarthy right now, right? So, it's got to be thematic.
Devil went down to the house floor looking for a soul to steal. Right. Kevin's already sold his 7 times.
And he's got nothing left to give. He's got nowhere else to go.
He does not. Dominic, we will continue having this great conversation about Kevin McCarthy, especially if you call us at 844-967-2789. But I've got former Tea Party Congressman Joe Walsh scheduled for the 5 o'clock Happier Happy Hour. He's joining us today. And Dom, we got a cavalcade of fine stars tomorrow. We've got Milwaukee County Corporate Counsel Maggie Dawn, one of our favorites. So smart. Like us, but smart. So Maggie's joining in the 5 o'clock hour tomorrow. And also, I promised the audience yesterday, we're going to do a retake with Everett Mitchell tomorrow at 4:20, so he can address the Daniel Bice, the column that was published I told you we'd give him the chance. He's coming back. He'll take us up on it about 4:20 tomorrow. So keep her tuned in. And I understand Dick out in the garage, the ever thoughtful Dick, has a musical thought for the Kevin McCarthy descent into hell. Dick, how's it going, man? Welcome to the show. What do you got for us?
Hey, Dick.
Oh, really good, guys. This is for longer in the tooth people. Roy Orbison, it's over. It was.
It's over.
Dick, I'd point you towards Dandy Don Meredith. Turn out the lights.
Anyhow,
the party's over. Didn't he used to
over,
sing that on Monday nights occasionally?
Oh, yeah.
Couple
Yes,
too
he
many
did.
beers into a blowout victory.
There's one thing in this giant show of craziness that I can't stand. MSNBC, Charlie Sykes on, commenting on these horrible people. Isn't he a guy that was a part of creating them?
Yes. I was absolutely, Dick. I thought the same thing when I saw him recently this afternoon on MSNBC. I'm thinking to myself, no matter what comes out of your mouth, Charlie Sykes, I mean, you were the guy that helped create Scott Walker. You were the guy that helped create Senator Ron Johnson. I mean, how do you just, these people, where do they get this idea? Where does this come from? Well, it came from people like you, Charlie Sykes.
I learned it from you, Dad. I learned it from you.
I learned it from watching you. It's like a PSA.
And he's making huge money sitting there bloviating, and he was one of the creators of all of this. It just blows me away to see him. But anyway, that was my song. I know a lot of people won't know it, but there it is.
It's over, says Dick.
It's over.
I got to tell you, so's this phone call. Thanks for listening.
Appreciate it, man.
844-967-2789. I guess Stoner Uncle Howie's up next. Listening down in Chi-Town. How you doing, Stoner Uncle Howie?
Hey, Stoner.
Sir, yes, sir. Signal report for you guys. I'm getting you in uptown area of Chicago. I live in a Subaru, 20-year-old beat-up Outback. And I got you down in suburb 20 miles south of here. So I was surprised. And that's all on the AM 540 station at a walk dog.
It's the beast of the East, Stoner Uncle Howie.
And I first discovered you on the local 820 WCPT here. And I just, for reference, okay, I grew up the son of a Harvard-educated attorney, got his GI Bill, became fantastically successful. I took LSD in 1973. Went to see the rock band in Madison Square Garden, New York City. Took my LSD. I wanted to be just like Alan White, famous drummer from Yes, who just passed away this past year. He played the drums for John Lennon and two of the Beatles, and Harrison, all things must pass. And, he became a shit-hot rock star, and I live in a Subaru. And I just want to say hello. I've seen this country go through the turns my whole adult life from 20 to 65, where I am now, officially geriatric. And it's painful to see what's happened. I mean, 2008, it was the betrayal of Clinton and then the betrayal by Obama that led to Trump. And this frivolous nature that I hear on these other asshole radio.
Thanks for the call, Stoner Uncle Howie. Listen, these things don't happen in a vacuum, right? We're just talking about a local talker here, Charlie Sykes, who's now made it big on MSNBC, flipping his stripes. First he was liberal when he was a kid, became conservative, make that money. And then when Trump came around, he decided to hightail it out. He saw the writing on the wall. He helped plant the garden, Stoner Uncle Howie. So this is, no one should be surprised, I guess, if you look back at the timeline of all of this, it should be fully expected. And for, a bunch of insurrectionists who wanted to, throw out the will of the majority of voters, they should not be surprised that a small minority of them want to throw out their will. I mean, this is exactly how they do it.
844-967-2789. Ross listening in Lake Mills. Ross, you got a tune for us?
Hey, Ross.
Track of McCarthy's misery, let's call it.
Yeah, I got one. It's Lonesome Loser by the Little River Band.
Yeah. Yes.
That's pretty good, Ross. I haven't heard that song in a while, let's just say.
I did like the one with Roy Orbison, too. That was pretty funny. But that's my pick for the day. You guys rock. Thanks a lot.
Ross,
Hey, thanks, Ross. Appreciate it, man.
844-967-2789. You know, always having a little fun with the audience, Dom. I always appreciate when they participate. You know, keep it just this side of the FCC.
just this side. Yeah, do the best you can.
5:40 a.m. Tell a friend it's the Beast of the East. Coming back from the Bucks game the other night, that thing was roaring, I tell you. So tell people, listen to it, make friends. And I've always said, Dom, the real patriots, get the Civic Media app so you can take us worldwide, baby. Like Dave from Chi-Town. Dave, welcome to the show. What do you got for us?
Hey, Dave.
Yeah, I wanted to. I got a song for the end of the year for CJ.
Oh yeah,
You're No Good by Linda Ronstadt, and also I wanted to say that.
Hold on, let's listen to it for a second, Dave. Let's appreciate this dedication.
Yeah, let it ruminate for a second. A long distance dedication from Dave to CJ.
Well played, Dave.
Yeah, thanks.
You got any other thoughts, man? We'll give you more than a song.
Yeah, I do.
What's your thought, Dave?
Awesome. But I also wanted to say that I'm wondering if the Republican House is going to go to the mattresses anytime soon. Since they've had this House vacuum since their leader has been dethroned, they're in such chaos. I think they're going to start going after each other in even worse ways than they are now.
Well, define worse ones, Dave. Are we going to see a knife fight on the floor of the House?
I mean, it may not be far from it.
You think Boebert's pulling out her sidearm?
She just might, especially now that they have the metal detectors deactivated. Who knows?
That's the Chicago way. If they bring a knife, you bring a gun. If they send one of yours to the hospital, you send Kevin McCarthy to the rhetorical morgue.
Exactly.
Dave,
gonna get even nastier.
Dave, appreciate you listening. Last question, Dave. I might have interrupted you, but did you say we were awesome, or did I make that up in my head?
No, you actually are awesome. I did say that. Yes.
I just want to make sure, because sometimes I just tell myself I'm awesome. But I appreciate that you agree with us, Dave.
Well, keep up the great work.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, Dave. Thank you, man.
Hey,
Keep listening.
Here, I mean, not like I had to pull that one back out of him, but I was like, did he just call us awesome? Like, I should have acknowledged it, like, oh, thank you. That was a nice compliment. And instead, I just thought, are you talking to yourself again?
Did I think that? Right.
Do you think Donald Trump has similar messages in his head, like, you're awesome?
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I can see him, looking in the mirror, telling himself that, damn it, people like him. Our buddy Doc, courtesy of his brother, he'd send me a text, and KC, here's a tune for Kevin McCarthy, Heartaches by the Number, or I'm a Loser. You got one of those? Which one? Yeah.
This is so obvious. I mean, anyone that partied with us in lacrosse at like 3 a.m, and we crank it and make the walls shake, the Loser, because this song got played a lot at 3 a.m.
Oh, yeah, back, man.
But
hey, thanks, Doc. Appreciate the input. Thanks to your brother and KC as well.
I was absolutely thinking Loser. I just thought, I got to be more creative. And then my brain said, Crudy, you're awesome.
You're awesome.
Great idea. Why would you second guess yourself?
We got Dolly Ruts because I'm awesome. We could kind of change this thing around.
Something like that. Hey, Dom, breaking news. And this you may appreciate. May get you in to see your doctor. Senate in the state of Wisconsin, Senate GOP close to supporting medical marijuana. Leader Devin LeMahieu says,
my arm, it's broken.
Better smoke some weed for that, huh?
Of course, for the pain.
So anyways, that would be some breaking news here in the state of Wisconsin. I got a little editorial piece down. I'd like to start this one. We're going to go to break soon. You can still be a part. We'll still take some of your fun recommendations. The soundtrack of Kevin McCarthy's Speaker Wannabe Misery at 844-967-2789. But Dave Zawiefel, editor emeritus over at the Cap Times, has an intriguing opinion headline. Oath Keepers, Tiffany and Fitzgerald.
Reread that, please.
Oh, Oath Breakers, Tiffany and Fitzgerald shouldn't be allowed to serve. Now, Oath Keepers, they're also like I don't want to mischaracterize them as like a, Proud Boys group, but they are. Right?
Yeah, I mean, that's how I would put it, right? I would characterize them as insurrectionist bastards, because isn't that what the Oath Keepers, they were on trial for that and convicted.
Well, maybe we'll have to come back to this piece because I've mangled the headline. Oath Keepers, Tiffany and Fitzgerald. Oh, I did it again. They're oath breakers, not oath
breakers.
Keepers.
It's very important. It's key to the peace. They are oath breakers, and they should not be in Congress.
Shouldn't be allowed to serve. If you're going to correct me, at least get it right.
Well, serve where? They should serve some burgers, serve some beers. Absolutely. Serving Congress, hells to the no.
Have you been watching Fitzy? He's been in the screen a lot. Like he's been sitting behind the speakers, like when they nominate Kevin McCarthy for another failed speaker vote. Fitzy's just kind of sitting there looking like a bored kid in church. Like, God, Mom.
The meatloaf.
Oh, that's
What's he
gross.
doing up there? All right. I get so confused with our great representation in Congress.
Representation.
Oh, my God.
More Devils, more of your calls. 944-844-96
What have I done to deserve such a fate?
You are one pathetic loser.
Life had a remote control. You could pause or rewind. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. Take the 1-minute risk test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
The radio show your mother warned you about.
Actual tyranny of a dictator. Dictator is going to dictate Putin. And what did Trump do? Trump kneeled to the man. Embarrassing Republicans. And you're still with the guy? This is your front runner in 2024? You've been smoking some of Mike Lindell's crack. What are you thinking?
They're the GCCCP. We are the Devil's Advocates.
Live weekday afternoons from 3 to 6.
You're never completely ready to adopt a teen.
For late nights writing English papers.
For your teen's music taste.
For dinners where they talk more on their phone than with you.
For the first time, they call you Mom.
You're never completely ready to adopt a teen, and you can't imagine the reward.
To learn more about adopting a teen, visit adoptuskids.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Weather brought to you by the Joint Chiropractic. Take advantage of their New Year's promotion now. Buy a 10-month wellness plan and get 2 months free, and use your HSA or FSA dollars to do it. Visit them at any of their 4 Madison locations.
Here's your Devil Radio forecast. Chance of scattered snow showers tonight, otherwise overcast. Lows around 24, northwesterly winds 8 to 15 miles an hour. High temperatures reach up to 29, tomorrow cloudy. Partly cloudy skies tomorrow night, lows level off around 16. Dry with temperatures a bit above average Saturday and Sunday, and highs from the low 30s to the mid 30s. For Civic Media, I'm meteorologist Eric Height. Currently, it's 34 degrees.
You're listening to the radio show your mother warned you about. The Devil's Advocates.
And we're back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Phone lines open, taking your calls, your suggestions for the soundtrack of Kevin McCarthy's awful attempt to become speaker. Failed now, at least failing on the 10th ballot. You can join us at 844-967-2789.
Dominic, I understand that was actually Jeannie's request. Can't get
nice,
the satisfaction. So that one was a listener request. We'll get there in just a bit. If Jeannie's still holding on, I'm not clear if she is, but it makes me think, if you can't be with the one you love the one you're with. I don't think they're taking that advice, Don. They're not infatuated. They just don't like Kevin.
They're just not that into you, Kevin.
844-967-2789. I believe CJ from Beaver Dam will be next. CJ, welcome to the show. What do you got for us?
Hey, CJ.
Hey, fellas. I wanted to cue up Ozzy Osbourne's Crazy Train. There's just nothing but crazy up in here.
CJ, the only unfortunate part, you seem like a really cool guy, but somehow your name's been tainted, at least for the audience of this fine radio show.
I thought about changing it to Nobody, because they say nobody's above the law.
Ah, nice.
I was going to change his name to Nobody, so that would have been already taken. But
So you think that's bad? How do you think Don Jr. feels?
If you're voting Republican for this crazy crap show, please go to your local community college and get your GED. Just please.
Well, unfortunately, they would, but the Republicans are also shutting down the community colleges across the state of Wisconsin, CJ, starting in Richland County, my understanding. Appreciate you listening. 844-967-2789. Dean on the road's got a tune running through his head. Maybe something dedicated to Kevin McCarthy and the misery he's lived through these 72 hours and counting-ish. How you doing, Dean?
Hey, Dean.
I'm doing all right. How you guys?
Good, sir.
Man. Thinking of the Puddle of Mud song. I've got to clean it up a little bit, but she freaking hates me.
Hates me. Just she hates me.
Yes. Yes, Lowen Bobert is not a fan of Kevin McCarthy.
She did call BS on him, my understanding, in the closed caucus, but the room could not contain her sentiment towards McCarthy.
I think maybe that song just shows her sentiment all in one area there.
Yes.
Dean, appreciate you listening, man. Thanks, dude. 844-967-2789. We've had a little fun with the misery of Kevin McCarthy, and many participants are, playing requests for McCarthy, sort of musically saluting him over the last 72 hours and 10 failed speaker votes. I said if it'd be a youth soccer game, they'd have mercy ruled his ass, but we've got, musical salutes for the man, Dom. That's what we do every so often at 844-967-2789. Yes, sir.
Curdy, it looks like the math is in the 10th vote. 200 votes for McCarthy again, 212 for Jeffries again, 20 for other again, and 1 for present again. The votes did not change from the 9th, which have done nothing but go down or stay even for McCarthy. He started out in the first round at 203. He's now down to 200.
It's been 164 years. You're a historic loser, Kevin McCarthy.
Right. Embrace it.
Really
Congratulations.
Truly. 844-967-2789. Let's get to a few more callers before our fine guest, former Congressman Joe Walsh, Republican anti-Trumper. Top of the hour, we'll talk about the chaos going on. Mark on the road, though, has a tune. What do you got for us, Mark?
What's up, Mark?
First I'll start out saying I was scrolling earlier today on my phone, and I came across the picture that was taken in the chamber with a bunch of the Republicans huddled up, arguing amongst each other, and you can see in the background AOC is just cracking up laughing. If you can find that picture, it's hilarious. She's in the
I
background
have
just
seen
having
that
a
picture.
life.
I believe she's looking over Matt Gates's left shoulder, and she is gleeful.
Yeah.
Gleeful.
That was my thoughts exactly. But the song I was thinking of was That Smell I'm blanking out who sings it right now, but
Leonard Skinner, baby.
no, yes, that's who it was. Yes, that's the one that comes to mind when I think about this.
It's the smell of desperation.
Not a good smell. That's all I know.
That's the smell of death around you, Kevin McCarthy, because your speakership continues to die.
844.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it, Mark.
Thanks, Mark.
4-967-2789. I'm being given notice here by our fine producer, E-Bone, who's lightly screening the calls and pulling up the request. Got a caller who hung up. They don't get their music then, do they? We'll see. We'll see.
No, you got to stick around and have some fun with us. You can't just call in and have Evan do it. You got to come on the radio with us. That's what it's all about.
What's it called when you knock on the door and then you run like hell down?
When you light the poop on fire, he called the poop.
Ding dong ditch.
Ding dong ditch. There you go.
No ding dong ditch in the
yes, no, not allowed. Not allowed. We state our names here, and generally we use our real names. God, I wish we would have thought about that differently, Crudy.
I flounder.
Right. State your name. 844-967-2789. I guess we're not going to have time to get to the rest of this article before Crudy's Republican buddy comes back with us, but we'll jam a couple more calls out as soon as Evan gets done. Looks like Tom from West Dallas has a tune for us. Welcome, Tom. What do you got for us?
Hey, Tom.
Hey, I got Last in Line by Dio. What a great song.
Oh, yeah, man. So good. If he's the last in line, Tom, I mean, who's next then? If it's not Kevin McCarthy, who's it going to be?
Hey, they're unraveling.
Some would say the Republican Party is in disarray, Tom. Appreciate you listening. Are we going to play the hang up call song on the way out here, or this going to take us out? You tell me, dude.
No, we'll stay with the Dio, man. This is some great, man. I miss Dio. He's back. He joined Black Sabbath after Ozzy got kicked out of the band, right? And he went off on his own.
How do you get kicked out of Black Sabbath? What do you got to do to get kicked out of Black Sabbath?
Because you're Ozzy Osbourne, man. You can't contain that man.
I'm the Prince of Darkness.
But man, Dio came in, did Heaven and Hell, did some great albums with Black Sabbath. So thanks for the memories, West Dallas. Appreciate it.
Come back with us. We got a fine guest. I think former Congressman, talker, Joe Walsh. I was a co-panelist with him on Fox News, and we'll continue the friendship on this fine program, the Happier Happy Hour, the Thursday, Friday Eve edition. Again, Joe Walsh, our next guest. Please stick around.
Hey, this is Matt from Design Garden. Remember when the internet was new? Back then, you had to leave your house to start a business. Companies used to pay programmers bags of cash to get online. Now, small businesses can get online with a Facebook business page, or Squarespace, or Google My Business, or WordPress. But which tools should you use? Can you afford to go down the wrong path? Design Garden uses modern tools to build your website the right way. Find us online at design.garden. Again, that's design.garden.
Fear you may be missing out? We're always streaming on TuneIn and the Civic Media app. Enjoy listening live or catch up by finding the podcast at civicmedia.us or wherever you enjoy listening to your podcasts.
Join me, Stephanie Miller, and the entire Sexy Liberal Resistance every morning from 8 to 11 for The Stephanie Miller Show right here on 92.7 FM and WTTN 1580 AM. Listen live Monday through Friday on Devil Radio, Wisconsin's home for progressive news, talk.
You are listening to WTTN 1580 AM Columbus, W224 EG Madison, always streaming on the Devil Radio app.
ABC News, I'm Andy Field. On Capitol Hill, a 10th round of voting now underway. Kevin McCarthy failing in 9 votes to get the 218 needed to be Speaker, leaving the House at a virtual standstill.
Republicans are strong, independent people, and we'll have a deliberation and debate, but we need to reform this institution because it's not dictatorship of a speaker. There are some legitimate concerns that members have.
More from ABC's Mary Ellis Parks.
I do think if this goes on and on,
we're going to start to see more pressure on Democrats. There's a few things that could happen. One, you could have Democrat sort of roll call start to slip. You could have some Democrats that don't make it to some of these votes. It's taking obviously all this time, all day long. They want to get on with other things. And if that happens, that inadvertently could really help Kevin McCarthy.
McCarthy saying he remains confident he can get those 218 votes. At least 2 people have died after a bomb cyclone battered Northern California. This is ABC News. The nation coming off a deadly and dangerous year as a result of fentanyl, and unfortunately, 2023 looks no better.
In 2022, just here in New York, the Drug Enforcement Administration seized record amounts of fentanyl powder and fentanyl-laced prescription pills.
This is a public health, public safety, and national security threat.
The DEA's Frank Tarantino said nearly 2/3 of all fake prescription pills seized contained a lethal dose of fentanyl.
What we're seeing now is an increase in fentanyl seizures. We're seeing an increase in the lethality of these pills.
Just in New York City last year, there were more than 2,300 fatal overdoses blamed on fentanyl. Aaron Katursky, ABC News, New York.
Today is National Bird Day. On this day, environmentalists are highlighting many bird species in the U.S. are in decline. Experts say about 70 species of birds have lost at least half their populations in the past 50 years due to human-caused threats, including climate change. Activists urging stronger conservation efforts. Andy Field, ABC News.
In time, you will know the true power of Devil Radio 92.7. It is your destiny.
Devil Radio, your fix for progressive talk from Middleton to Monona, always streaming at DARNWI.com.
For Civic Media, I'm Terry Bell with this news. Gasoline prices in Wisconsin are going back up. AAA says the statewide average went up 9 cents yesterday to $3.11 a gallon for regular. That's 20 cents higher than it was a week ago. AAA blames temporary refinery shutdowns in late December due to bad weather. Demand for fuel is also on the rise. People in Wisconsin have a little more time to sound off about the state's wolf management plan. The Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources is extending the public comment period through the end of February. The DNR says Wisconsin's wolf management strategy hasn't been updated since 2017. Wardens say Wisconsin's wolf population has changed since then. In sports, the Bucks just barely beat Toronto last night, 104-101. You're listening to Devil Radio, 92.7 FM, WTTN, 1580 AM.
I'm looking at the phone lines. I'm seeing some familiar faces. What's reminded Gene of Eau Claire?
Well, welcome back, Matt. I really missed you. We've been missing getting woke every morning, but now we'll get woke in the afternoon.
What's reminded Andrew of Detroit?
Professor, it's so nice you're back. We missed you during your vacation, and I'm very happy to be in your class for the semester.
Thanks a lot for calling in. I appreciate all my callers.
Tune in to Matt Flynn Direct, Monday through Friday, 3 to 4 p.m.
Hey, Brad from Zero Res Madison here. What's the best way to clean your carpet? Well, not surprisingly, it's the same way you clean your clothes. You wouldn't clean a dirty shirt by running a white cloth over the top of it, nor would you try to get it clean by sprinkling chemicals and rubbing it in. For a real clean, you need hot water, agitation, and a cleaning agent, just like your laundry. For a fresh, healthy clean with no residue, call Zero Res Madison or schedule online. Zero Res, spell it forward or backward, it's the right way to clean.
Hey, this is Jim Santel. I am the host of Morning Cannolis. Every single Saturday morning from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., we talk about the major stories in law, in government, and the aspiration for justice in America. Delighted to have you join, call in, and be a part of our discussion right here on the networks of Civic Media.
Hey there, fellow working class heroes. I'm Rick Smith, host of The Rick Smith Show. And we are now on the air in Madison, live weeknights, 8 to 10 p.m., right here on Devil Radio, WTTN 92.7 FM and 1580 AM. Turn on, tune in, and help us rebuild the American dream. Check out our website at thericksmithshow.com. The Rick Smith Show, where working people come to talk. Weeknights, 8 to 10 p.m., right here on Devil Radio, WTTN Madison.
I was just curious as to why you called it the Paul Revere Show.
The Paul Revere Show is named this way because the poem that we all know, the famous ride, the poem was written to rally the troops to fight slavery and fight for democracy. And so I named the show the Paul Revere Show because I thought it was the time to get on the air and talk about democracy.
The Paul Revere Show with Mark Thompson. Listen Mondays 7 to 8 p.m. always on the Civic Media app.
Hear history as it happens, only on Devil Radio 92.7 FM.
Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves and corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening. 3, 2, 1. Now live from the Devil Radio Studios in Madison, Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning. Welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Here is your host, Mike Crute.
Welcome to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show, the Thursday edition, the Friday Eve edition. Dominic, the happier happy hour, it gets happier. Right now, we got a fine guest joining us live via phone. He is a former Republican congressman, former Republican presidential candidate in 2020, and most importantly, a talk radio guy like ourselves. He is Joe Walsh. Joe, welcome to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show.
Hey, Joe.
Men, are you having fun?
We have been. We've been celebrating the misery of Kevin McCarthy for like 3 days straight, sir. It has been a hell of a news cycle, and it seemingly has no end, Joe. Is there an end game for Kevin McCarthy here?
Well, look, I think there is, and I think the end game will probably become clear tonight. Look, I served with McCarthy. The reason I think McCarthy will still ultimately get it is because he's willing to give away anything and everything to get it. Bottom line, that's what Kevin McCarthy's always been. Nobody can trust him. He wants to be speaker. He'd sell anything to get it. And that's what he's doing right now.
Joe, how many times can one sell one's soul?
Right. Isn't there a point where there's nothing left to give away?
Well, he sold his soul to Trump, no doubt about that. So this is well beyond his soul. I mean, I think he's selling every inch of his body. I wouldn't be surprised if other Republicans in the conference drive away with his car tonight. He's probably selling suits of clothing. I mean it. I don't mean to be funny. Kevin McCarthy, literally, this is all he's ever wanted to do. And so right now, he's giving people whatever they want to try to close this deal.
Now, Joe, when you came into Congress, you elected first, was it 2010 or 2012, sir?
The Tea Party wave of 2010.
And who was the speaker then? Was that the John Boehner, the heady days of John Boehner as the speaker?
Yeah, and we made life kind of miserable for Boehner.
Well, Boehner eventually had to step aside, right? And he had to, anoint Paul Ryan his successor. And Ryan had even stated his intent to take the office. Boehner sort of drafted him. Joe, is it going to have to be a draft? Is Kevin McCarthy going to have to go draft his successor? And will he ever come to that realization publicly?
Well, you do make a really good point. This has been going on for a while, and I've been really public that us Tea Party guys kind of started this. You know, a lot of people right now are like breathlessly saying that what's going on this week is making America look bad. I think that's a bunch of BS. January 6th made America look bad. What's going on right now makes the Republican Party look bad. My former party is like fully radicalized and they're dysfunctional. And it started back with Tea Party folks like me. We made life hell for Boehner. Remember, Kevin McCarthy tried to be speaker in 2015, 16, and they wouldn't support him, and Paul Ryan was the default. And now they're even more extreme. So nobody really knows how this is going to end.
Folks, you're listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Joe Walsh, who's a former congressman, former Republican candidate for president, joining us. Joe, pleasure to talk to you. You said your former party, the Republican Party, is your former party. Do you belong to a party now? And what was the reason for having the GOP become your former party?
I'm homeless. I'm politically homeless. I did something really crazy and stupid 2.5 years ago. I challenged Trump in a Republican primary. I challenged him because I just think Trump is like the most horrible human being in this country. I didn't succeed with that primary challenge. And when I ended that, I left the party because I'd been a Republican my whole life, but the party had become a cult, like an authoritarian embracing cult. So I left the party almost 3 years ago. But no, right now I think I'm like a lot of people. I'm just kind of independent. I don't have a team, Republican or Democrat. I'm still pretty conservative. And it's not easy because, guys, we live in a political world right now where it's a heck of a lot easier to belong to one of the teams or one of the tribes.
Well, Joe Walsh, when I caught up with you a little bit the other day, and my first impression of you is first and foremost, you're a radio guy. But I talked about the Foxy News panel that you and I both appeared on, and I teased that I made you stutter and made you defend the Trump tax cuts once upon a time. And what I would say is you were a quote unquote, a good, loyal Republican. What about his governance changed your opinion of the man? And another side note, Joe, subsequently, both you and I have been blackballed from Fox News.
Yes. And for the record, I think when you and I were on that Fox panel a while back, I think you beat me up. I do think you beat me up pretty well. So kudos to you. Look, I have had to I've had to be naked on national TV for the last 5 years and publicly apologize for voting for Trump in 2016. I did vote for him. The minute he got elected, I began to turn on him really quickly, and that wasn't easy because I was on a conservative talk radio show around the country, a couple hundred stations, but I said I can't do this anymore because I literally believed in my bones, and I still do, that he's a genuine threat to our democracy. Now, the scary thing, guys, is the Republican Party has become his party. So it's no longer just Trump, man. It's like the whole party has embraced this Trumpism, which is absolute like disregard for the truth, and they've kind of given up on democracy. That's a real scary thing.
Joe, but if Donald Trump still holds sway over the party, why didn't his social media post to get all the the 20 Republicans to vote for his Kevin? That didn't go anywhere, man. It seems like Trump is not only losing ground, he's losing ground quickly.
I respectfully disagree with that. What's weird about me is because I come from the Republican Party base, I still talk to these people every day. And generally, they're still with Trump. Trump's heart really isn't into Kevin McCarthy. I mean, he's endorsed him and he's made some phone calls for him. But the Republicans I'm talking to in Congress have told me privately he's not really going out of his way to really sing McCarthy's praises. And he can't because most of his voters, the hardcore GOP base, they don't want McCarthy to be speaker. So Trump's got to tread this thing really carefully, which, that's normally not what Trump does.
Joe, pardon me, I heard you reference the January 6th, and Kevin McCarthy initially publicly was very strongly against having his life threatened, apparently, by protesters. But Joe, what do you think the impact has been on the Republican base? You talk about these are your friends. You still hang out with these people. Joe, are people being impacted by the January 6th hearings, the final results, or even Trump's taxes? Do any of these have any impact on the base?
None. No, zero. Now, for everybody outside of the Republican Party base, January 6th mattered. The January 6th committee mattered. Trump having classified top secret information down at Mar-a-Lago matters. Trump's taxes matter. But for the Republican Party base, they don't even hear about this stuff. They go on Hannity. They listen to Hannity every night or Tucker Carlson every night, and they are living in a completely different world. And that's why we're still in this weird place where if Trump's heart's into it, guys, and we don't know yet if his heart is really into running again, but if his heart is into it, I still think he's the favorite to get the nomination, but I don't think there's any way he could ever get elected again.
Joe, as one of the original Tea Partiers, he swept into Congress during the Tea Party movement. I want to get your opinion. Now, you got an ex-president, the only president in modern times who didn't release his taxes. When it finally comes out through a committee, it shows that he paid at some point $0 and sometimes $750 in taxes. I mean, for people who think they're taxed enough already, you see a billionaire pay $0. What do you think about that?
Well, I've always said if I were a billionaire, if I were only a multimillionaire, and I wasn't, I was the poorest member of Congress. Look, if I were a billionaire, I'd hire attorneys and lawyers and accountants to find every legal way, every freaking loophole there is to minimize my tax liability. So legally, I don't have a problem with what Trump did. I don't have a problem with what wealthy people do. The problem is there shouldn't be all that complication and loopholes and deductions that wealthy people can use that you and I can't. So we got to simplify the tax code. I think that's ultimately the answer. Like if you want rich people paying more, then get rid of all this crap in our tax code.
Well, I mean that makes sense, Joe. I think a lot of people could get behind something like that, so long as see what the impact is on revenues. But if Donald Trump is using false LLCs and creating false expenses, I mean it goes beyond that. It's engaging in tax fraud. If that's the case, is it not?
Bingo. Well, yeah, bingo. And I said I would do everything I could do legally to minimize my liability. Clearly, Trump went beyond that. Let's be real. We all know it. Donald Trump is a criminal. He's a crook. He's been this way his whole life. I mean, in 2016, we put a criminal in the White House, and look at what he's done since. So, yes, that kind of thing should be gone after. Trump should be indicted for a number of things, period.
Joe Walsh, a fine guest, man. Just declare yourself a talker, Joe. It's got a lot of cachet. You're kind of a big deal. Joe, appreciate you joining us here on the Devil's Advocates. We'll catch up real soon, sir.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks, guys.
You're a crook. You're a cheat and a swindler.
Mom's early Alzheimer's diagnosis was hard to take.
And when I left the oven on, we decided together that it was time to see a doctor and make a plan.
Early detection gave us more time to seek out information and support as a family.
If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. For more information, visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
The Devil's Advocates.
Matt from Mount World. Welcome, Matt. What do you got for us?
I don't get these people, man. All these teachers are groomers and pedophiles. We need them armed to the teeth. It's the only way.
Right.
I mean, is your name Jeffrey Lebowski? Because your mind is limber.
Oh,
appreciate you listening.
That's a great point, though. Yes, the teachers, they're the ones doing the indoctrination, right? The teachers are the ones that are woke. Give them guns.
Follow the Devil's Advocates on Facebook and Twitter.
I love this song. I love nachos.
Loving everything? You might be buzzed.
You know what I'd love? A ride when it's time to head out.
If you see a buzzed warning sign, call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Weather brought to you by the Joint Chiropractic. Through January 14th, you can buy a 10-month wellness plan and get 2 free months. Visit us today at our 4 Madison area locations. No appointment needed. Open evenings and weekends. The Joint Chiropractic.
Here's your Devil Radio forecast. Chance of scattered snow showers tonight, otherwise overcast. Lows around 24, northwesterly winds 8 to 15 miles an hour. High temperatures reach up to 29. Tomorrow, cloudy. Partly cloudy skies tomorrow night. Lows level off around 16. Dry with temperatures a bit above average Saturday and Sunday, and highs from the low 30s to the mid 30s. For Civic Media, I'm meteorologist Eric Height. Currently, it's 33 degrees.
I would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for those meddling devil's advocates.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Phone lines open for your take today. 844-967-2789.
Dominic, the Metallica Misery, that was actually a dedication to Kevin McCarthy, one of our fine audience members that didn't stick around. Thank you, Joe Walsh, former congressman, former Republican presidential candidate in 2020. Didn't get a lot of press for his presidential run, but most importantly, he's a talker, man. A talk radio guy.
And that qualifies you to do everything, man, no matter what it is.
Well,
you talk radio, you are qualified, period.
To his credit, the man does have his master's degree like you. I think you're both overqualified to talk radio. I mean, I'm sitting over here with 118 credits and barely hanging on with a mass comm degree from UWL.
You and Mike Pence, man.
Does Pence have a degree from a higher institution like lacrosse?
I don't know, but he was a radio guy.
Yes, he was. So many of us, we travel so far in this world. 844-967-2789. The Happier Happy Hour. And we're doing a little exercise, and you can continue to play along if you choose by picking tunes to celebrate this 3-day and counting misery of Kevin McCarthy. He's now lost 10 votes, right?
Yes.
He's 0 for 10. It's official. Historic loser, Kevin McCarthy. And our buddy Bill Press, recent guest, said he's never going to be the speaker. Never, ever, never, ever, never. And so far, Bill Press is looking like a genius. It's not hard to be the smartest guy in the room around here. Consider the company, if you will. Dom, back to my buddy Joe Walsh for just a minute. What's that old saying? The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Did you see what the Stop the Steal guy was saying about Marjorie Taylor Greene?
Ali Alexander. Yeah. I mean, you know it's bad when the righties are starting to beat up on each other. But again, this is to be expected.
Well, here specifically, and I don't take any credit for the misogyny contained here, but if you're going to pick on someone, MTG is just as good a target as anyone. But these are his words. I'll read them to you and then maybe back to the phones at 844-967-2789. Political comments and requests going out to Kevin McCarthy, accepted here. The right-wing agitator stepped up, talking about Ali Alexander. The right-wing agitator stepped up his attacks on the Georgia Republican, talking about Marjorie Taylor Greene, whose support for Kevin McCarthy as House Speaker opened a rift, I tell you, with Rep. Lauren Boebert. What a brain trust this will make. With an apparent blackmail threat, a string of misogynist slurs, reported Right-Wing Watch. I'm going to share some of them with you. I will not suffer this harlot, Alexander said on his Telegram page. How you know he's a misogynist is he's got a Telegram page. I will not be...
And he uses the word harlot.
I will not be taught vows and loyalty, commitment from a whore. Called her a whore, Dom. You have got me mistaken for some damn fool. And a fool, Ali Alexander, has never been called.
Oh, the third person comment. Wait, how very Trumpy of you, Alexander.
And he sort of writes in reverse text, you know what I mean? Like predicate coming after the fact. Maybe
like Yoda.
Alexander, who faces his own legal troubles over his role in planning the rally, that preceded the January 6th insurrection, did not provide any details about the crime. He's accusing her of a crime, Dom, that Green allegedly committed, but he said it occurred in Georgia and could result in her expulsion from Congress.
Ooh. Sounds like the pillow guy coming out with his proof, or, Donald Trump coming out with the new alternative to Obamacare coming out in 2 weeks.
Again, this is Ali Alexander's words, not Crudy's. In the coming days, I'm going to reveal that Marjorie Taylor Greene, in my summation and the summation of lawyers, committed a crime. That crime is going to be handed to the state of Georgia, and the state of Georgia will decide whether they adjudicate that crime or not. The House Ethics Committee and House Rules Committee must expel Marjorie Taylor Greene when this evidence comes to light. Now, that still presumes that we're going to have a speaker and an active Congress, but let's set aside that point for just a minute longer, Dom. He goes on, again, I believe this is on his Telegram post, to say, "Ho, go home." Again, talking about sitting Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. I don't hold her in high esteem, but I would not describe her as a ho, but he does. "Ho, go home. I'm done with you," he added. "You are lukewarm. I am spitting you out of my mouth. You played me and no more." I think the "you played me" is the most important operative sentence here, right? You played me. So she burned this guy in some way. "Everyone will know about your drunken night because the consultants who have drunk with you will have to choose whether they fear me or whether they fear you. And they fear me, Marge. They fear me a lot more than they fear you." What was the drunken night all about?
Wow.
And why would
Alexander, what gives you such bravado? The consultants fear you? Really, dude?
Here is what gives him such bravado. Probably a working agreement with the Department of Justice to turn states evidence. Why do they fear him? Because he's the one turning states evidence of crimes. He's the one that is making summations of the evidence of particular crimes he'd like to be investigated in Georgia and elsewhere.
And a drunken night because he got burned? I mean, I'm not sure the DOJ's really concerned about that. He's references a drunken night here, man. I mean, wow. What a piece of work.
State crimes worthy of expulsion from the U.S. House predicated on one drunken night in Georgia, Dom.
The devil went down to Georgia. I mean, this is a guy who helped organize the Stop the Steal, right? So I'm not sure I'd believe anything that comes out of his mouth.
Well, Dominic, I would not believe that Marjorie Taylor Greene would sell her soul to the devil, but I think you got a couple of her toes.
Folks, we are the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Come back with us, 844-967-2789. That's terrible.
I cracked me up.
I'm scared, Daddy. Too scared to even wet my pants.
You know what? I'll tell you something. There's nothing better than a hot sausage, couple 2-3 cold beers, and Devil Radio on the box.
ABC News, I'm Andy Field. On Capitol Hill, a 10th round of voting now underway. Kevin McCarthy failing in 9 votes to get the 218 needed to be Speaker, leaving the House at a virtual standstill.
Republicans are strong, independent people, and we'll have a deliberation and debate, but we need to reform this institution because it's not dictatorship of a speaker. There are some legitimate concerns that members have.
More from ABC's Mary Ellis Parks.
I do think if this goes on and on, we're going to start to see more pressure on Democrats. There's a few things that could happen. One, you could have Democrat sort of roll call start to slip. You could have some Democrats that don't make it to some of these votes. It's taking obviously all this time, all day long. They want to get on with other things. And if that happens, that inadvertently could really help Kevin McCarthy.
McCarthy saying he remains confident he can get those 218 votes. At least 2 people have died after a bomb cyclone battered Northern California. This is ABC News.
Here's how you get them. If they bring a beer, you bring an old-fashioned. If they bring cheese curds, you bring a casserole. That's how you make friends. That's the Wisconsin way. That's Devil Radio.
This is Pat Kreitlow from Up North News Radio. The inability of Republicans in Congress to agree on a speaker needs to be understood in proper context. This isn't anything new. GOP politicians have not been interested in doing the work of governing. This is the party of government shutdowns, expensive shutdowns, 35 days 4 years ago. And 10 years ago, nearly 1 million workers were furloughed for 16 days. Taxpayers shelled out billions. State legislators stayed home for 9 months in 2020 and nearly 10 months last year. If a state budget doesn't pass, they know business carries on under the spending levels of the old budget. The idea of not governing, or really even working for that matter, isn't a bug, but a feature of the right wing's political DNA, because the best way for them to claim government doesn't work is for them to not do any work and prevent anyone else from getting things done as well. Join us on the radio weekdays, 6 to 8 a.m.
You wanted information as election results rolled in, and the Civic Media network of radio stations delivered it live.
I was so impressed with your coverage, and I listened to you guys, and I got all the coverage. It was amazing.
Civic Media, the only network with news reporters and show hosts stationed across Wisconsin, sharing political insight not found anywhere else. Elections or anytime, we are here for you, your local Civic Media radio stations, and streaming on the Civic Media app.
The song just embodies the Packers for those first 7 weeks.
If it's bad, is that what you're trying to get at? A terrible song, a terrible team? Who was that?
That's from the Emoji Movie, man. That's how I heard it.
You watched that garbage?
Yeah, I watched it. Where Sir Patrick Stewart played the poop. It's actually a highly underrated movie.
Be sure to tune in for Packer Outright Opinions Friday nights at 7 p.m. right here on Devil Radio 92.7 FM.
This is Pat Kreitlow from Up North News Radio. On the air, online, or on demand, make it a point to catch the first word on Wisconsin news, sports, and more weekday mornings from 6 to 8 all across the stations of the Civic Media Radio Network.
Hey there, fellow working class heroes. I'm Rick Smith, host of The Rick Smith Show, and we are now on the air in Madison, live weeknights 8 to 10 p.m. right here on Devils Radio, WTTN 92.7 FM and 1580 AM. Turn on, tune in, and help us rebuild the American dream. Check out our website at thericksmithshow.com. The Rick Smith Show, where working people come to talk. Weeknights 8 to 10 p.m. right here on Devil Radio, WTTN Madison.
Cause a vision softly creeping.
The Devil's Advocates, making radio great again.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show, the Happier Happy Hour. This one's going out to you, Kevin McCarthy. Who requested that one?
Oh, that's an Evan original.
Our very own Fancy Brian.
Oh, Fancy
Brian.
Brian.
Nice. Is that the disturbed version?
Oh,
yeah, right. I appreciate that, man.
We will continue taking your dedications to Never Gonna Get It Speaker Kevin McCarthy at 844-967-2789. Before we get to the calls, Tom had something.
Well, I just want to, we got a supercut that we lifted off of MSNBC. Evan, thank you for doing the hard work. And, you know, we're sitting here, we mock these Republicans, and it's justified. The mockery is absolutely justified. But it's not just us. This Fox News cut, Evan, going to need your help. I want to throw this out there for the people.
Kennedy and Boebert going back and forth?
No, I did not see that. But this is just a quick rundown of what the Fox News commentators are saying about how the Republicans are failing in this effort.
Before we get there, I got to say, Hannity lit Boebert's ass up. Anyways, Hannity suddenly finds reason, but play it for the people, Evan.
These 20 people are making the Republicans look like idiots.
House Republicans now are on the verge of becoming a total clown show if they're not careful. Could we get a unanimous vote to go forward, or do we have to do a few rounds? Because without all three of us voting to go, yes, we're not going to do the show. It's unbelievable what took place yesterday.
How ordinary American is sitting home and saying, what the heck is wrong with these people?
This is the worst game of chicken ever. It's like, it's just a game of chicken. You have a car going at the other and you wait. It's not even that. It's not even that. It's just bad.
This is an utter unmitigated disaster.
Disaster for the Republicans. Just a simple disaster.
Disaster, bad, clown show. This is what Fox is saying about the Republicans. And while we talk, the House is now gearing up for an 11th speaker vote.
You know, after hearing that Fox supercut, I should reconsider my getting blackballed and burning all bridges with Fox News. You think they'd have me back, Tom?
Oh, yeah, he's got to ask nicely and not swear. Do you want to go back, Rudy?
Oh, I was, kidding, of course.
Oh, okay.
I'm very satisfied with my persona non grata relationship with Fox News. I just can't figure out why MSNBC's not calling. Why isn't Hollywood calling for the movie?
I guess they're too busy with Charlie Sykes, man. He's got better hair than you.
844-967-2789. And our earlier guest, Joe Walsh, he'll be on MSNBC or CNN this week. You watch. Rico from Rock County. What do you got for us, Rico?
Hey, Rico.
Hey, Radiohead, Creep. That's the first song that came in my mind.
But I'm a creep.
Yeah, great tune.
Kevin McCarthy is that creep they speak of in the song, is he not?
Yeah. Hey, am I still there?
Yeah,
you're on. Any political thoughts, Rico? We appreciate the long distance dedication. What else you got?
No, let me. Hey, this is what else I got. Hey, isn't there some kind of rule, guys, now? No taxation without representation. I want to speak to your lawyer buddy you guys had on the line here earlier this year. Hey, there's got to be at least a discount or a rebate going on somewhere here.
I want a 3-day prorated tax break.
Representation. That Kevin McCarthy, I'll tell you what, guys. The first thing he better do is get a hold of his doctor. I mean, right away. As soon as this clown show's over, he's going to need to have them lips surgically scrubbed and sterilized because anybody that's kissed that much ass by now is going to catch something. He's going to look like that girl in the Silkwood movie, remember when they're scrubbing the radiation off?
Scrubbing the Republican corruption.
Thanks for that visual, Rico. We certainly appreciate it. A creep. Radiohead. Well done, sir. 844-967-2789. Jeff, you will be next from the east side. Welcome, Jeff. What do you got for us?
Hey, Jeff.
Hey guys. I've been laughing. I was just got done with my workout at the Christian Club, and I could hardly get through it. I was laughing. But I'll tell you, I thought Supertramp Dreamer would be a great song.
Nothing but a dreamer, Jeff.
Stupid little dreamer.
Fine work, E-Bone, on the phones and long distance dedications going out to Kevin McCarthy today. You got any other political thoughts, Jeff?
Oh, I think it's what they're doing. It's not even a clown. It's giving a bad. Even clowns aren't that bad. I mean, it's more like a crap show. I mean, I would use a different expletive, but it's just. I'm just sitting back and enjoying it, watching it on TV and listening to it on there. Listening to the whole thing go down. It's scary that our government's this dysfunctional. It's really scary.
Well, Jeff, our government's not dysfunctional. Let's clarify. The Republican Party is dysfunctional. I mean, look at the Democrats. I've been proud of the Democrats. They sit there like they were prepared to govern.
Okay.
They got 212 votes. They got, the president's out there on the campaign stump right now with Mitch McConnell celebrating bipartisan action. And then you got the Republicans, by contrast, shooting themselves in the head on TV for the 11th consecutive time.
Agreed.
It ain't both sides doing it, Jeff. You know what I'm saying, man? I think this will be disastrous for Republicans in the midterms. I mean, really. And I don't just mean on a presidential level. That might actually somehow exempt from this. But when you look at who do you want in charge, they do the generic ballot. Democrats or Republicans, who do you want in charge of Congress? Who, other than those that completely stick their heads up their you-know-whats and ignore the headlines of the day, Can you ignore the news right now of what's happening in the Congress and the fact that Republicans are incapable of governing? And why would you ever hire them to govern anything ever, ever, never again? You just got hired. You can't even pick your leader and start the Congress.
844-967-2789. And it's just not, again, it's not, left-wing talk radio talking trash to Republicans. Another quick headline here from the Raw story. Comparing Never Kevin Republicans to hostage takers is unfair. To hostage takers, says GOP lawmaker Don Bacon, a Republican from Nebraska, on CNN. He was asked by Tapper about a comparison made by former rep from Virginia, a Republican, in which he compared the Never Kevins to terrorists. And this is what Bacon said. I feel that way. This is a Republican. I feel that way about my fellow Republicans. We were talking about that today. Hostage takers at least have a goal and they have demands. We met those demands and still they can't get to yes. They refuse to get to yes. They've been offered everything but one demand that we've not gone to. So this is more like terrorism, and you're right. Hostage takers, man, that's rude. It's just unfair to hostage takers.
You realize their only goal is the chaos, is the fame. They're being lifted in the moment. It's like the Joe Manchin, Kristen Sinema dynamic in the U.S. Senate. As soon as Sinema wasn't going to be the paramount vote, what'd she do? I'm an independent now. Give me the spotlight. I crave it. So many of these people, they've got no governing agenda. I mean, Matt Gaetz, give me a break. The fact the guy's not still under federal investigation for sex crimes is a shocking disgrace of the DOJ, to my opinion, because they never should have given his wingman the deal then. But above and beyond that, I mean, Lauren Boebert, she doesn't have a governing thing. She barely won, dude. She barely won. She should be sitting on the back bench and keeping her mouth shut for a couple months because her voters almost threw her ass out, and she's in a +8 district, +8 Republican district, and she won by 200 votes. Shut up. Of course, as soon as this resolves, and inevitably some resolution will come to pass, and when that happens, they're just back to being backbench marginalized Republicans with no government.
Unless they're on a committee, unless they get, it depends on what deal is struck. I mean, that's the whole point. And they recognize the leverage. They know this. Do you think they're actually looking for a solution? I mean, Matt Gaetz is not looking for a solution. His solution is not Kevin. That's my solution.
The problem is their solution. They've created the problem. Everyone looks at them. They're being intransigent and they're getting all the headlines. And as soon as that fades from them, they've lost. But there's no actual agenda here other than we hate Kevin. Look at us. Look at me. Mama, I'm on TV. 844-967-2789. Far more important to be on the radio with us. Like, who's your Bob? How you doing, Bob? Welcome back.
Bob. Hey, guys. Okay, I've got one for Bad CJ.
Oh, now we're playing tunes for Bad CJ. Not good CJ, who was on the show earlier.
Right.
But 2022's douchebag of the year, CJ, the bad CJ. What song do you dedicate to CJ?
Yeah, by the way, I did not mean to besmirch good CJ's name.
Well,
okay,
CJ besmirched CJ's name. All CJs have forevermore been besmirched.
Oh, true that. Okay, for Bad CJ, from 1939, If I Only Had a Brain, from The Wizard of Oz.
I would dance and be merry, life would be a ding-a-dairy if I only had a brain.
Well done, Bob. Any political thoughts, sir?
Oh, I think that said it. Like I said about the Republicans. Even Republicans don't trust Republicans. Why are you people even thinking of this?
Bob, appreciate that thought. I think it's been sort of a common thought of late. Republicans can't even trust their own party. Why would you? 844-967-2789. Joey from Chicago, perhaps listening on WCPT or maybe the app or maybe the Beast of the East, 540 a.m. Welcome, Joey. What do you got for us?
Hey, Joey.
Hi, guys. Hey, guys. I just wanted to say good song for Kevin McCarthy right now would probably be by Sheb Woolley, the purple-eyed people monster.
And why this selection for Kevin McCarthy? I don't see the relevance. Give me the analogy. Dumb it down for me and Dom, of course.
That people are afraid of a man who is a complete total idiot. They seem to not want to do anything to do with him, and I imagine that if we came across a people monster, we wouldn't want anything to do with him either.
Joy, I suspect you're right, although Dom is a pretty embracing guy.
I love the love, man.
And our college roommate, Joe, if she was pretty, Joe would try to sleep with that purple people eater.
I'm not even sure that was a requirement, but thanks for the call, Joey. We certainly appreciate your input. Jake from Eureka, you'll be last on this segment. Welcome, Jake. What do you got for us?
Hey, guys, the main difference between hostage takers and conservative politicians these days is at least hostage takers generally have some sort of idea what their objective is. I mean, what are these Republicans doing? Do they have any idea themselves? I'd say as far as song dedications to Mr. Kevin McCarthy, I think Hit the Road, Jack by Ray Charles. Perfect.
Jake, any political thoughts as we wrap up this segment and head towards the...
I think this may be the first time I've ever agreed with Lauren Boebert on anything. McCarthy needs to go. Get lost, dude. No more votes. Just go away, McCarthy.
Well said, Jake. Well said. If only he were smart enough to take that advice. And
I mean, what kind of a position you got to be where you're actually considering taking advice from Lauren Boebert, man? I mean, I'm not sure that's ever a space I want to be in.
Well, when we come back, Dom, Marjorie Taylor Greene's going to chastise the non-Kevin supportive. Stand by her man. Come back. More Devil's Advocates. Last segment, 844-967-2789.
What you said? I didn't understand it.
What grows in the forest? Our imagination and our family bonds. The forest is closer than you think. Find a forest near you at discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
The Devil's Advocates.
Aaron Mostovsky, who rioted at the U.S. Capitol on January 6th, was dressed as Captain Caveman. QAnon shaman meets Law and Order.
Right. I mean, he pulled it off a whole lot better than Aaron Mostovsky.
Well, let me read a quote from the judge in this case. I hope you'll leave some of this fantasy world behind. Mostovsky was sentenced to 8 months in prison.
Looking at the guy, he might be one who loses his mattress on the first day. Breaking news.
Follow the Devil's Advocates on Facebook and Twitter.
When it comes to making plans, you are the best. What about those round trips, which are perfect on your way there and perfect on your way back? Or those meetings with friends, surprise parties, camps, birthdays? The same way you plan for the important moments, start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Sign up for local weather and emergency alerts. Prepare an emergency kit and make a family communications plan. Get started at ready.gov/plan.
Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Weather brought to you by The Joint Chiropractic, making routine chiropractic care affordable and convenient. Start the new year right with a 10-month wellness plan and get 2 months free. Visit us at any of our 4 Madison area locations. No appointment needed, open evenings and weekends.
Here's your Devil Radio forecast. Chance of scattered snow showers tonight, otherwise overcast. Lows around 24, northwesterly winds 8 to 15 miles an hour. High temperatures reach up to 29. Tomorrow, cloudy. Partly cloudy skies tomorrow night. Lows level off around 16. Dry with temperatures a bit above average Saturday and Sunday, and highs from the low 30s to the mid 30s. For Civic Media, I'm meteorologist Eric Height. Currently, it's 33 degrees.
The devil's advocates may not agree on much, but funny is funny.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. It is the last segment of the day. If you got something to say, hit us up right now at 844-967-2789.
Dominic, I didn't think I'd be saying this of the often divorced Marjorie Taylor Greene. Well, I guess maybe just once divorced. Recently.
I'm not clear on her marital status, Curtis, but please go ahead.
If you read the tabloids religiously, like I choose to,
yeah,
there have been some cheating allegations against
adults having consensual sex. That's something to really write home about.
Well, that's not really what I'm pricking her on in this particular case, Dom. Marjorie Taylor Greene stands by her man, Kevin McCarthy, and calls out fellow Republicans for being unreasonable.
Oh, the Republican Party's in disarray.
We'll get to you folks, all you fine and patient callers on the phones at 844-967-2789. But indulge me for just a moment. From the Roar story, Dom, Rep. Marjorie Taylor Greene, Republican from Georgia, if you were unaware, Dom, who rose to infamy by promoting conspiracy theories about school shootings being faked and about the Rothschild family funding Jewish space lasers, accused some of her fellow Republicans of being unreasonable on Thursday.
She would know.
In an interview with CNN's Manu Raju, Greene took aim at fellow MAGA Rep. Lauren Boebert. Pew-pew! Boebert for refusing to support Republican leader Kevin McCarthy, no matter how many concessions he offered her. Here's the quote. I'm not sure how Lauren Boebert, on one hand, can demand so much out of Kevin McCarthy, but then demand nothing out of someone else and be willing to vote for them to be speaker, Greene argued. That's not serious. I don't think that's leadership, and I really see it more as obstruction than progress. Isn't that like your party motto? Over on the House side, aren't they like...
Yes, they're literally getting a taste of their own medicine. I mean, this is exactly what they deserve.
Dominic, although Greene in the past has had a reputation as the ultimate anti-establishment three-toed candidate, she agreed to back McCarthy on the grounds that more moderate Republican members would eventually join up with Democrats to back a consensus candidate if McCarthy's bid for the speakership is blocked. So, God forbid they pick a moderate, Dom. She's standing by her man. In this case, the man's Kevin McCarthy.
Well, in some of the interviews I've seen with Marjorie Taylor Greene, she was lamenting the fact that, she didn't get anything. All these other people are getting things from the negotiations with Kevin McCarthy. She didn't get anything.
That's not true.
Whose fault is that if you didn't?
I hear she's getting back on committees. And under the Democrats, she couldn't even serve on a committee, Dom. She'd been stripped of her committees, right? 844-967-2789. Oh, Betsy, how you doing, sister?
Hey, Betsy. Happy New Year.
Are we going to do it sing-along style, Betsy?
Sure. What do you want to say?
Well, I don't know. I understand you got a tune, a long-distance dedication going out to Kevin McCarthy. What tune did you pick? I'll sing if I know the words, Betsy.
Okay. Ludicrous. Move, bitch. Get out of the way.
Get out the way. Get out the way, bitch. Get out the way.
Yeah.
I only sing to the radio version, Betsy. I apologize.
Yeah. Well, I apologize. It's not a nice word, but it is what it is.
If the shoe fits, Betsy.
Yeah. You make politics fun. Thank you.
We do try.
Half the time yeah, you really do. You guys are just awesome together. I'm so glad, that you all came together, and then look what you've built, Curdy, and everything. So I'm gonna just thank you for everything. Thank you for my sanity. Thank you for just fighting for Wisconsin, and even Marjorie Taylor Greene. I mean, she's very interesting now. I'm really coming to be intrigued by her.
Google,
is it?
Betsy, do this.
Yes.
Do yourself a favor. Google Marjorie Taylor Greene and her toes.
No,
You'll be
don't do it.
fascinated.
No, don't do it.
Do you remember the Land of the Lost when we were kids? At least when
terrible.
I was a kid, there was that Saturday morning show, Land of the Lost, and somehow they got in the lizard world. I never quite understood how, but I feel like the troglodytes or whatever they were called had like these sort of three-toed, hoofy-looking feet, and I feel like that's what Marjorie Taylor Greene looks like.
Well, she's got to be ugly somewhere. I mean,
Well, ugly,
certainly is inside, man.
ugly
Yes,
goes to the
ugly.
bone, Betsy.
She's to the bone, yeah. She and Lauren Boebert. I mean, what is up with her? This is very curious.
I'm sorry, Betsy. So great to hear from you. 844-967-2789. That Boebert girl, she scares me a little, Dom. You know, if there's ever a shooting in the Congress, you know she's going to be involved.
Well, and I don't, the bravado that even someone like Boebert has. I mean, I think Marjorie Taylor Greene won her election overwhelmingly, which is terrible and surprising, but okay. I guess if that's what you want, that's what you get, right? But Boebert didn't. I mean, she barely squeaked through, as you mentioned, on a +8 Republican district. So where is that coming from? Whom is she serving, Boebert? Nobody. It's her own. And I don't know if it's the social media thing of it now. I mean, 20 years ago, we didn't have this ability for people to just put everything out there. Is it Fox News? I guess it's good that Sean Hannity pushed back on Boebert a bit, but if all they want to do is play these games so they can get on Fox News, if Fox News denies them that, then perhaps they're gonna have to go to lower rated conservative, more fringe networks to get their fix. But this is the age of the trolls, man. It's not about getting anything done. It's, can you own the libs? Can you troll? Can you get some clicks? Can your Instagram page get some views? I mean, that's, to me, that's the motivation for these folks. I can't believe that they be standing on any sort of ideological ground.
If we want to get some clicks down, these Marjorie Taylor feet photos, man. I'm telling you, people want to see that.
No, they don't. No, you don't.
It's like a train wreck, dude. It's like watching Kevin McCarthy try to win the speakership.
Well,
you got to slow down and go by your cable news and go, what are we on? Vote 11?
Yes, the 11th ballot is occurring right now as we speak.
Well, that's like 3 more than Marjorie Taylor Greene has toes. CJ, give you last thoughts today, man. What do you got for us?
Hey, CJ.
Hey guys, how's it going? Let me just tell you that as you speak of Republicans, they're draining the swamp, and they're getting conditioned, and they're making changes because Nancy Pelosi has trashed the House.
Man, you are living in a different reality, dude. Turn on the cable news, and you tell me what you see, other than Marjorie Taylor's 4 toes. Thanks for listening, everyone. Raised in the Wisco, going out on the Shaw. The Empowered Caregivers here on WTTN. Keep it locked, Civic Media.
Well, relax. Let's have some fun out here. This game's fun, okay?
I pray to God it's not.
Fun, damn it.
Hi, this is Brad from Zero Res. If you need someone to help with your carpet cleaning, business or residence, please give us a call. We have the best system available and an amazing team of friendly technicians. Call us at 848-9000 or schedule online at zeroresmadison.com.
Hey, this is Matt from Design Garden. Remember when the internet was new? Back then, you had to leave your house to start a business. Companies used to pay programmers bags of cash to get online. Now, small businesses can get online with a Facebook business page, or Squarespace, or Google My Business, or WordPress. But which tools should you use? Can you afford to go down the wrong path? Design Garden uses modern tools to build your website the right way. Find us online at design.garden. Again, that's design.garden.
To protect his family from disaster, Steve used his camera phone. Done. By taking pictures of his important documents, Steve can always have them stored online. Learn more simple disaster prep tips at ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
You are listening to WTTN 1580 AM Columbus, W224 EG Madison, always streaming on the Devil Radio app.
ABC News, I'm Andy Field. Republican leader Kevin McCarthy has now lost 10 ballot rounds for House Speaker. 20 holdouts, including Congresswoman Lauren Boebert of California, refused to back McCarthy.
This isn't chaos. This is a constitutional republic at work. I'm a mom of 4 boys.